Finally, we're going to downtown St. Louis for a look inside an architectural masterpiece that's temporarily closed to the public. The Central Library renovation and restoration project is a massive one, but when it's finished, one of America's best libraries will be even better. The previous time our cameras were inside the Central Library, it was 2007. The magnificence of its design, the splendor of its materials, and the impeccable craftsmanship that went into the structure makes it one of this nation's great public buildings. But in an ambitious effort to make it even greater, the library closed its doors in the summer of 2010 for a major restoration and renovation. The project is expected to take 2 years. We returned 8 months into the process to see how things were going. We began on the top floor with our guide, Library Executive Director Waller McGuire.
This used to be a series of meeting rooms and offices and closets and small rooms all divided up and really never used by the public. So because of the construction of the building, we've been able to take out all of the interior walls and open up these enormous rooms. This is a block long. It's the same size as the Great Humanities Room on the first floor or main floor underneath us. And we'll be able to open this to the public for the first time. This room is where the library's special collections, its rarest of the rare books, will be kept. Amazing things that the library has collected in 150 years of history, some of them priceless, some of them fascinating, all of them really quite extraordinary. They've been tucked away behind the scenes for 100 years. Now we're going to be able to bring them out and offer them to the public in this remarkable new space. It's an exciting possibility for us.
And there have been exciting discoveries, like this original skylight.
It was covered over with fluorescent lights 50 or 60 years ago. Why, I do not know. So we're going to restore that and once again have a feature that they had 100 years ago.
The library's architect, Cass Gilbert, competed against architects from several prestigious firms to win the commission. Gilbert, who also designed the St. Louis Art Museum, left a legacy that includes some of this nation's most majestic public buildings, including the United States Supreme Court. In 1907, philanthropist Andrew Carnegie, whose wealth financed the construction of thousands of libraries around the world, funded much of St. Louis's library. A city block of Olive Street was cleared for the project. The site was on the southern end of what used to be known as Missouri Park. The library itself took more than 4 years to build.
This is one of the great buildings of the 20th century. People come from all over the world just to see the original building, so a lot of the work being done is preserving the original finishes and architectural and some of these stunning features. These windows are treasures. We have art and literature on one side of the staircase and poetry and music on the other. They were commissioned by the library and the architect and installed in the building when it was new, and they were done by a great company outside of Boston called Gorham.
The windows will eventually be lit from the outside courtyard. The decorative painted surfaces, especially on the ceilings, will be restored and lit as well.
This room was originally the Humanities Room, and the Humanities collection will be moved back here again. And this beautiful Renaissance ceiling above us is sort of made up from different historical models. It isn't based on any particular ceiling, but you can see many of the patterns in it, the owls and the dolphins, the various symbols of knowledge and learning. When the building opened in 1912, we had table lights. And sometime in the 1950s, it was thought modern to come in and pull out all of the original chandeliers and put in fluorescent lights. Modern technology is allowing us to reintroduce the systems that were used in the building when it opened 100 years ago. We will be reusing some of Gilbert's original ideas to make this a modern library.
The chandeliers were taken to a St. Louis lighting company that specializes in the restoration and reproduction of antique lighting fixtures.
The kind of a job that I have is really a privilege. I just feel, if you could ever feel lucky, that'd be my middle name.
St. Louis Antique Lighting Company President Gary Beam has done restoration work for the library going back 3 decades. He showed us these large pendant lights that hung over the east and west staircases off the main entryway.
The finish, as you can see on this one, is really quite nice. And so we'll be cleaning this and trying to preserve as much of the finish here that we possibly can. When you get to the second one over here, this one is not in quite a good condition. There's some paint spills from some painting that has been done.
And that green, chalky residue, the result of a well-intentioned but poorly executed cleaning, will be carefully removed.
The maintenance people at the library, to save energy, put these in, have used self-ballasted compact fluorescent lamps already, which is a big improvement from an energy perspective. So what used to be here was a standard 100-watt incandescent lamp, and then they took those out and replaced it. This happens to be a 15-watt. This uses about 6 times less energy than a standard incandescent lamp does.
Beam says 10 marble diffusers, lampshades of sorts, must be reproduced due to what's called thermal deterioration.
Thermal deterioration was caused by too much heat that was produced by overlamping of the inside of these with good intention. They were wanting to get more light out of them to light up the room some more, but the heat that was caused by incandescent lamps, probably as early as when they were first put in the early 1900s, decades of that heat essentially changes the character of the stone, so that the interior of the stone softens and it actually turns into chalk. One of the fixtures, as we were removing it, there's a large center washer that held all of the lamps in place. And when that washer was removed, these pieces just fell into our hands from their own weight. And if you notice here, this is the stone on the outside edge, but as you get to the inside, this is actually just turned to chalk. This is what they looked at.
Other pieces from the same lamps need serious but delicate cleaning.
This is an example of the existing surface condition. It exhibits a lot of staining. Way back when, people could smoke everywhere, so you're looking at some probably tar and nicotine here, on the surface of this. That's a brown color. These have been waxed several times, so there's several layers of wax over the dirt or with the dirt. So the normal method of cleaning is to use distilled water and mineral spirits on cleaning. We've done that on this, and it doesn't even touch the dirt, so to speak. So we're going to have to use a slightly more aggressive methodology to clean these. And we did a sample, and this is using basically talcum powder to very, very fine microbead. The color of this now approximates the original color of the marble when it was first put in.
Before the fixtures are returned to their home, work crews must complete renovations at the library. Those renovations will result in an additional 30,000 square feet of public space, more than double the original amount. That will be accomplished by removing the old stack tower where millions of books and other items were housed.
This is the last time anybody will see it like this. You can see the bases for the columns, and a structure will be filled into this space. Areas that once connected the Great Hall Tower to the Stack Tower, and you can see everything has been demolished above us. Entirely new building will be inserted into this space with new elevators and new restrooms and the service areas that the rest of the building doesn't house. And the Stack Tower itself is going to be entirely new and different space. It's a little heart-stopping to see it in its present condition.
Breathtaking may be the way library patrons describe this space after it's transformed. It will become a new entrance facing Locust Street, a dramatic contrast to the historical Olive Street entrance, which will remain in place. The multi-story atrium patrons will walk through will lead to a number of new amenities, including the Center for the Reader, which will be devoted to new books. And in the bowels of the library, where the boiler room has been located, a theater and auditorium seating nearly 250 people will be built.
We did a lot of work for many years in advance to make certain that we understood what was within the walls of the building and what was beneath the building. But one of the real challenges working here has been will be bringing in the enormous pieces of steel, the new elevator equipment, all of the machinery that it takes to run a modern building without damaging these astonishing original surfaces and getting them into the courtyard and the very small, convoluted spaces within the buildings.
Encompassing the best of the old and new, the Central Library is scheduled to reopen in time for its centennial in 2012.